Hi, it's Mike from Mike's Unboxing Reviews and How To, and on today's video we're going to take a look at the new Keychron K3 MAX keyboard. This has 84 keys and is a 75% compact layout, and best of all, for those of you that like your slimline keyboards, this is extremely slimline. So we've got slimline keycaps and also we've got slimline switches as well, all of which are potentially hot swappable. There's a few different versions of this K3 MAX available, depending on what your preferences are. So if you don't want hot swap, you can save a little bit of money. And if you don't want RGB lighting, you can have one with a static color to save you even more. This potentially can come into you at somewhere in the region of about £90 in the UK. I will put some links in the video description. There'll also be some external links as well to places such as Amazon, etc., or wherever you can get your hands on a Keychron keyboard, and potentially those may be affiliated. So there may be a small commission earned by us if you purchase something through those links. It won't increase the price for you at all and it won't change the price, but it does go some way to helping out the channel. Hi, this is Future Mike here, and something which I forgot to mention in the video, but this is actually very important, especially if you live in the UK. The good people over at Keychron UK have actually agreed to donate another K3 MAX to one of our lucky viewers. So if you want to find out how to enter that competition, the links for that will be in the video description. Essentially, the competition starts when the video goes live, will run for a week, and then a winner will be chosen at random via email address, and the winner will be notified shortly after. So, if you want to win one of these, you've got to be in it to win it. Back to the video. So on today's video, we're going to go through, do a quick unboxing, see what we actually get here, talk about some of the specifications, some of the features, and we'll do some sound tests as well. You do have the option with this of switching between 3 different types of switches. So these are the Gateron Low Profile MX 2.0 switches, available initially in the red and the brown switches, the red being a tactile switch with no definable bump, and the browns being ones with a little bit of a bump there just so you can know what you've pressed depending on which you prefer. And potentially there will be also a blue version as well if you like that clicky sound. So I suppose we should start off first of all talking about what is the difference with the new Max version. So there is a K3 Pro available and also a K3. Again, there'll be links in the video description so you can check out the individual versions. But what this brings to the table is 2.4 gigahertz connectivity. So previously the option was either wired or Bluetooth. So now they've added in the 2.4 gigahertz Wi-Fi connectivity. So you've got multiple options here. Basically you've got 5 connectivity choices. So wired, 3 lots of Bluetooth connectivity, and also the 2.4 gigahertz, making it pretty much universal to connect with kind of anything you want to. Also, this has the new ARM Cortex M4 CPU installed, so this means that there is a lot of power under the hood, so you can make changes and also update the firmware. It is completely open source in terms of the firmware, which you can use the QMK and also VIA to program the keyboard and basically make changes to it, so you don't need to install any specific software. In fact, let's show you a quick demonstration of what the VIA software is all about right now. Okay, so let's take a look at the Use VIA app. So first of all, you're going to need to authorize your device. So click on there, and if your device is connected, you should find it here. So Keychron K3 MAX, and click on Connect. And there we go. So we've got various things we can do here. The important thing is the layers. So layers 0 and 1 are when it's in Mac mode. Layers 2 and 3 are for Windows, so we're in Windows, so we'll go into that. So at this point you can test your keys, and you can test your layers, etc. And if you click on the additional layers, you can see what the other keys will do. So if you press the function key, this is what the other keys basically are. So you can use this as a key map. You can also change your keys, and also you've got things like changing your media keys, set up macros, change your layers, special functions or special keys if you've got one you want to add. So for instance, you want to add a calculator button, replace it with one of the others, you can do. You can also go through and change your lighting styles, and also there's a custom section as well. So macros, you can record a macro. You've got the option here to save and load layouts, and in the lighting you can go through and choose one of the 22 modes, change effect speeds and also the brightnesses, etc. So yeah, pretty decent app. This is very useful and saves you having dedicated software installed on your PC. You can just go to a web browser and connect up and make any changes you see fit. So there you go, hopefully you got a good idea of what that is all about. So let's take a look at what we actually get. So this is the packaging, so very nice packaging. This is the Keychron K3 MAX, as you can see there, a sleek, compact wireless mechanical keyboard, and it is fully mechanical using those Gateron low profile switches, as we said earlier. Open source customization and also designed for peak productivity. This particular version, as you can see here, is designed for the UK layout. There's also other options available for different regions. Again, you can check those out in the links down below. On the back of the box, it talks about some of the other key features, such as the low profile switches, the compact design, the dual compatibility, meaning this is suitable for both Windows PCs, Android devices, and also Mac OS. We have the open source firmware, as we said before, 2.4 GHz and Bluetooth, and you can pair up to 3 devices. You've got battery life of up to about 78 hours if you're using it with the RGB turned off, and about 40 hours with the RGB on, so it should last you pretty much through the working week. Also, you have 22 embedded lighting effects. Hopefully there'll be something to suit your particular preferences. So obviously inside the box you get the keyboard itself, which is this thing here, which is absolutely lovely. It really is. So this is a combination of aluminium and also ABS plastic. So it's got a really nice sturdy feel to it. And also looking at the keyboard itself, you can see the keycaps which are on here. There are different versions available for the keycaps, although depending on the region you're in, you may have more or less options. I actually quite like the default layout, especially on this ISO UK layout. So you've got all the right keys in all the right places. And also you've got the full size enter key, which I know a lot of you in the UK do prefer. Also included there is a user manual which goes through in a lot of detail, telling you about how to use the keyboard, how to set it up, what the different key combinations do, all that kind of stuff. And if you want something to actually keep underneath your keyboard, just at a quick reference guide, you've got this quick start guide which will tell you about the keys and also tells you where to switch out the keys, because this comes as standard out of the box in the Mac OS layout. So if you're on a Windows PC or you just don't want the Mac layout, it tells you where to put the keys. Very straightforward indeed. And speaking of that, we've got these little keycaps here, again in low profile. So these are the default ones for Mac OS. I'm a Windows user, so I've swapped out those keys. You do get those included, and also you get the American style keys as well for the @ sign and also for the pound sign. So those are quite handy depending on which region you're in. I'm happy to say with this switch to the UK layout, it's absolutely perfect. Also, there's this little card here which gives you some warnings about the switches. So if you're going to swap out switches, just make sure that the pins are aligned. It's pretty much common sense, but you know how things are, they have to give you these little warnings. If you're planning on using this in a wired mode, it comes with a nice braided cable. So that's USB Type A on one end and USB Type C on the other. So you can, if you want to, swap this out. And in fact, Keychron themselves do have some valuable extra options. So if you buy this keyboard and you want to kit it out with some other stuff, they do like an aviator cable, there's pouches, storage things, and all that kind of stuff that you may want to actually get involved with. And also they do sell replacement switches should you need them. Talking of the switches, there is an included switch puller as well. So if you do want to swap them out or you somehow break one, then you can use that to remove them. That's very easy to do. And also there is a keycap puller with the Keychron logo actually on it. So yeah, that's quite handy as well. Again, if you're swapping this out from the default macOS layout to Windows, you're going to need this straight away. One of the key things about what makes the Macs slightly different is the fact that we do have this 2.4 GHz dongle now. And also it does say Keychron on it, which is very handy. So if you are living that dongle life and you've got tons of these things plugged in, at least you know exactly what this one is for. If for some reason you actually don't want to have this plugged into your laptop or your PC, or maybe your PC is a little bit further away and you want much better connectivity, then there is actually an included little device here which converts the USB Type-C on the cable to USB Type A, so you can plug in your receiver into there and have a little bit more of an extension from your PC or device, giving you a much better signal. I should mention as well, when it comes to the polling rate, if you're using this in the wired mode, it's got a 1000 Hz polling rate. If you're using it in the 2.4 GHz, there's also a 1000 Hz polling rate, although with Bluetooth 5.1, you are lowered to somewhere around about 90 Hz polling rate. And this is going to serve up multiple things. So it's going to make the battery last longer because the CPU inside here doesn't have to keep on polling your computer thousands of times a second to work out what keys you're pressing. So if you're using this just for productivity or as a casual device, then probably Bluetooth is the way to go. If you're using it for gaming, I would strongly suggest using either the 2.4 GHz dongle or the included USB cable. So now we can take a closer look at the keyboard itself, and again, this thing is very cute indeed. It's extremely slimline. I'll put the dimensions on the screen so you can check those out for yourselves. When it comes to the actual height of it, because it is extremely low profile, at its lowest point you're looking at 17mm in height, and at the highest point you're looking at 22mm in height. And also if you want to raise the angle of the keyboard a little bit, you can do. On the back you have got some adjustable feet on there, so there are two different versions of incline, giving you a little bit of extra height should you need it. So you just flip those open. Those also have rubberized feet on as well to keep it all nice and steady on your desk. And also if you have it in the flat mode, there's also these little rubber feet as well to keep it firmly planted. And actually in use, it does stay on the desk pretty well. You'll also notice on the back we've got our connectivity, so there is the USB Type-C port, nice and easy to access there, and just to the side of it there is actually an LED. Now the LED serves a few purposes, so depending on the colour we'll give you an idea of what state the battery is in. If you've got a red light on there, that means it's charging. If it's a green light, it's fully charged, and if it's flashing red, then it means that the keyboard needs charging, and you should think about doing that pretty quickly. Moving across to the end, so these are our multi-mode switches. So the first one is going to be for changing the mode. So if you want to have it in either macOS or in Windows / Android mode, you can switch that across. And also you've got your connectivity options. So you've got the option for Bluetooth, you've also got the option for 2.4 gigahertz, or in the middle is technically the off switch, but that is also the wired device switch. So leave it in the middle, goes into wired, pretty much straightforward. As I said earlier, this is a very compact keyboard, but that doesn't mean it doesn't have all the bases covered. This has a 75% layout, so basically pretty much 10 keyless. You do have some extra keys which are thrown in on the side, which actually will make productivity considerably easier. And there's one key in particular which I am extremely happy to see, and that is a dedicated key there for doing screenshots or snipping. So that is really good. Press that and then you can select an area on your screen for a screenshot to copy and paste and do whatever you want to. You can, of course, like I said earlier, in the VIA software, you can go ahead and change that if you want to. So if you want to, you can change it to the calculator button or whatever suits your particular preferences. I think in terms of who this keyboard is really aimed at, such as content creators, having the dedicated snip key there is actually pretty valuable. Also down the side there, some of the ones that you're likely to use on a slightly more regular basis. So end, home, page down and page up. And also in the top corner, there is the RGB button. So you can press this button and you can cycle through the various RGB modes which are built in, of which there are 22. You can also, in the software, change things such as the speed. Also, you can go for minute detail on each individual key, and also you can pick your specific color. So if there's a color that you really love to use, you can change the saturation, the hue, and all that kind of stuff. Also along the top row, we have the multi-function keys, the F keys. That is what it's set to as default. So your function keys, so F4 to close the window, F5 to refresh, all that kind of usual stuff. But if you want to, you can press the function key and you can use things such as adjusting your brightness. You can volume up, down, and mute as well, should you want to. One slight annoyance, which I would say is not really a deal breaker, but for some people it might be, the caps lock key. When you press it, there's a very, very tiny red LED above the actual button, which is quite hard to see. So you're not going to be entirely obviously aware of which mode you're in, but there isn't a number pad in here, so you don't have to worry about the number lock one. The caps lock one might be a little bit frustrating for some, but it's something you can get used to very quickly. Also, something they've done on this is the new stabilizer. So the stabilizers have been pre-lubed and also enhanced, so the key travel is absolutely excellent. And even things like the spacebar, where traditionally you do get a little bit of wobble, it's extremely well done and works exceptionally well. I really do like this. And of course, it's got that great noise. Now, like I said, this has got the Gateron Low Profile MX 2.0 switches in here. I've opted to go for the red version, so these are the linear switches. Got a really nice feel to them, of about 1.7 millimeters of initial travel, about 3 millimeters of travel in total. In fact, I'll put the specs of the various switches on the screen right now so you can check out which one might be best suited to you. When it comes to removing the keycaps, it's very easy to do. So you can use your keycap puller, even one-handed, and that will reveal the switches. So like I said, this is the red switch on here. You can, like I said earlier, you can order the low profile switches. So these are the G52s. So this is, I think it's 110 you get included in these packs. So you've got the brown switches here as well. I'll be doing some keyboard sound tests of the red switches shortly, and I'll probably do a follow-up video once I've swapped out all of these. I want to get used to the keyboard a little bit more to see what my preferences are. As soon as I've done that, we're going to swap over the keys and we'll do another sound test. That'll probably be in a short video. So this wouldn't be a real review of a keyboard without having some keyboard sound. So let's see what it actually sounds like. So I think this sounds really nice, and a lot of that is in fact down to some of the improvements they've made. So we're now using LSA keycaps. So those are the low profile LSA keycaps. They are PBT and double shot, as you've probably seen from some B-roll. Adding to that, they've also used some IXPE sound deadening treatments actually in the deck itself to make it seem a little bit more muted. So overall, I think Keychron have done a great job here in upgrading the K3 and bringing it more up to date, and also more importantly for us in the UK and also Germany, etc. Adding the ISO layouts I think is a step in the right direction and giving a slightly wider install base for these great keyboards. So yeah, I think they've done a great job here, but what I think about it isn't important, what you think about it is. So please do let us know in that comment section below your thoughts on this keyboard and anything else you'd like to see me try or test on it. I will be having this for the foreseeable. And I should say, in the interest of full disclosure, this was actually sent to us free of charge for review purposes by Keychron themselves. They haven't asked me to say anything or haven't asked me to do anything specific, just test the keyboard out and report my thoughts on it, of which I'm happy to say this is pretty bloody good. Anyway, I think that's going to wrap this video up. I've been Mike, this is Mike's Unboxing Reviews and How To, and hopefully we'll catch you in the very next video. Thanks for watching.